The only way things are going to change and the only way things are going to get better is by having these conversations more. Things will start to change, but it's going to take a long, long time.
Welcome to the Tales to Inspire podcast. Before we get started on this episode, I would like to invite you to our community so that you can hear more stories to inspire change within your life and positive change within the systems in which we live. All I want you to do is to click on the subscribe button. Your comments mean the world to us with anything that's resonated with you, and I absolutely love your support. I can't wait to go on this journey alongside you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Let's get into today's episode. Today, our bite-sized episode is with Amit Ghose.
I'm Amit Ghose, and this is my Tale to Inspire.
Amit, welcome to the Tales to Inspire podcast, mate. And we're going to go straight into the deep end and find out more about something that's close to your heart, which is, I guess, something you've always had to do is adapt to circumstances and to your situation and where you have been. So, someone with lived experience like you have, how has it been and what does it mean to have to adapt to different circumstances?
I didn't know, thank you for having me first of all. I never had the choice. I always had to adapt. I had to make that decision that I need to make myself seen, make myself heard, because I had such a visible condition. You've always got to make that extra effort to stand out and be seen. So for me, what it means to adapt is to be you, to be yourself, but to shine, let your personality shine so people see beyond the looks.
And how have you found the community? Is the community welcome to people who are different, or has it been tough to navigate that space?
It's been incredibly tough, and there's so many anecdotes of incidences that have happened throughout my life where the comments that I've heard from the Asian community in particular, especially growing up, sort of, you get married, let me start again, sorry. You lost my train of thoughts. It's really difficult because you get a degree, you get a job, the next thing is everyone in the community, especially the Asian community, starts talking about when you're going to get married. And for me, people started coming up to me and saying, oh, when are you going to get married? And then paused and be like, and someone once said to me to comfort me, they go, oh, don't worry if you don't get married. Would you want your daughter to marry someone that looks like you? And that was to comfort me. And in what world that is comforting, I have no idea. So it was always really challenging. And, my family were very supportive, but the outside community were always like, I'm a big fan of cricket, and we can talk more about that a bit later. But when I started playing cricket as a child, and my dad bought me my first bat and my first ball, everyone was like to my dad, "What are you doing? What if he gets hurt even more?" And my dad was like, "If my boy wants to play cricket, he wants to play cricket." So it's always this expectation or this boundaries that the community and the people around me were setting about me because of the way I look or because of my visible disability.
Why do you think communities, well, for example, in this one, the Asian community, are like that? Why do you think that happens?
Sometimes I think it's a lack of, especially in the Asian community, a lack of education, a lack of understanding, lack of empathy. And it's what the media represents and what sort of society represents to be perfect as well. Like, especially in the Asian community, you've got to look a certain way, you've got to be a certain way, you've got to study medicine or accountancy or engineering to be the best of the best. I talk about how arranged marriages are done in the Asian community as well. It's like almost like virtual Tinder where you're, exchanging photographs and the parents are either swiping left or right. So it's all that sort of thing that happens in our community that builds this expectation of what perfection should look like. Mm-hmm. And that must be so difficult because it's not under your control. You can't control any of that negativity around you, and you're the one that is living it. Yeah, well, when you say you can't control it, to an extent you can by having conversations, and the only way things are going to change and the only way things are going to get better is by having these conversations more. The work that people online on social media are doing now to talk about these things either in a comedy way or either in an educational way, that this is happening and we need to change it, things will start to change, but it's going to take a long, long time.
So out of all these communities now, let's just look at, you've got family, you've got your community with the Asian community, you've got school growing up, you've got your work community. Like, were they each different towards the way that you were?
Each of them were very different. So family was very supportive, the Asian community was very judgmental. At work, people were tiptoeing a lot of the times tiptoeing around how to deal with me. And a lot of the times now when I go and do workshops in a lot of organizations, the first question they ask me is, how do we talk to somebody who has a disability? Do we bring it up? Do we discuss it? Do we completely ignore it? So people still tiptoe around this subject in the fear that they might offend the person in question.
And to answer that question, how would you, what is your answer to that?
I think there isn't a straightforward, simple answer. It's based on many things, many factors. And this particular incident, I went into a recruitment agency and they asked me this question, and I said, it's based on what that person's body language is. You can't just suddenly go and say, oh, what's wrong with you, or what's happened to you. It's about feeding that question in, seeding it into the conversations. If you feel that person is open to it, if you feel as if they don't want to talk about it, if it's not relevant to the job application or what we're talking about, leave it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And then what about growing up at school? How were other children? Because I go to so many schools and we see that it can be really difficult because they just go straight for the drug, especially high school. How was school and that environment for you then?
School was tough. School wasn't easy. Growing up, especially in primary school, start with primary school, kids didn't understand my condition. They were either scared, curious, or they felt as if they're going to be friends with me, then they're not cool enough. And that happened. But in secondary school, I had my eye removed. That's when I had my surgery. I was in year 7 and I had a major surgery, and they removed my right eye and gave me this artificial eye. But before giving me the artificial eye, I had to wear an eye patch. And going into year 7, wearing an eye patch with a swollen face was absolutely brutal. I remember on the lead up of Halloween one year, a group of kids were talking about Halloween masks and going trick-or-treating, and this one kid pointed at me and said, "Oh, you don't need to buy a Halloween mask. You've got a permanent one on your face." That comment was like 23 years ago, but it still lives with me every single day. And now when I go to schools and do workshops about bullying, I mention that comment and I say, you've got to be very mindful what you say to others because it can leave a lasting impact. That comment still lives with me today. So yeah, all these different communities are very different.
And that comment will live, I guess, forever.
Forever, yeah.